Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there is no such thing as coincidences or mistakes. And we're going to share our life experience on that with you. You will notice that in the square next to me is not Miss Susan Doyle, but Miss Kristen Dean, who is my very close friend, my partner in crime, my sponsor of many years in AA, and she is joining us as a co-host today while Miss Sue takes a little vacation, and she'll be back with us very shortly. So, hello, Kristen.
Hi, Deb. It's so awesome to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. I thought of you as a co-host because, one, you're just a joy to have on and so much fun. And we'll get the giggles, I'm sure, a couple times during this episode. But more importantly, and on a more serious note, I'm going to have you kind of like tell your story a little bit about your recovery, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you did relapse and why, and how you made your way back into the program. But I wanted to bring something to everybody's attention that a lot of times when you're in recovery, sometimes people that come into recovery either have an addiction to drugs, or they're alcohol, they have an addiction to alcohol. And a lot of times it's both. For me personally, it was the opioids. I love to drink. I didn't drink alcoholically when I first started drinking. It was more like the in between. If I couldn't get my hands on a substance that I liked, I would drink, just to numb my mind. But I recently had a friend say to me, telling me about her sister who was an opioid addict. And she said, I said, how's she doing? Oh, she's doing really, really well. She's 2.5 years clean. And I said, oh, that's amazing. She said, yeah, it's so good. She went back to school. She has her degree. She's got a great job. So I just saw her last week at a family reunion, and but she was drinking, which kind of took me a little bit by surprise. But alcohol really wasn't her thing. It was more the drugs. So I think she's going to be okay. And immediately I was like, oh, slippery slope. We've learned the hard way that a substance is a substance, and if you're an addict or an alcoholic, you got the disease, So, of course, I'll wish only the best for her, but I know that was your story too.
Yep.
From the day one when I met you, you were like, I was 18 when I came in the program, and it was because of the pills, but I'm not quite sure if I have an issue with alcohol. Like, you always question that. So tell me a little bit about you and your story.
So first off, my first exposure, thank you, Deb, was to AA at 18
Mm.
through our buddies, Steve and Marilyn, who,
Mhm.
you know, I love. They're both gone now, but I owe Steve in particular my early exposure to the program
Mhm.
and meeting, some older folks that had been sober for quite a while. Just always felt like these are kind of my people. I feel like I belong here.
Mhm.
But didn't get sober for the first time until I was 25. So it
Okay.
was some years later, because I really didn't start taking pills until I'm going to say like 92, 93. So I was 22, 23.
Okay.
That's I really started. I had been prescribed opiates when I had my wisdom teeth pulled.
Mhm.
And I gotta tell you that was like when I took those pills, Deb, you
Mm.
know,
Yes,
I
I
was in
do.
love.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is it, man. But I didn't start chasing them until, um, you know, 22 and, 23 years old.
Mhm.
And then, reached a bottom with those drugs. Um, and we know the gamut. You've talked about it, doctor shopping, stealing,
Open houses,
open houses.
rummaging through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I don't want to give anybody any ideas. I always am remiss to talk about stuff
Hmm.
like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, so bad that, you know, I couldn't do anything without having a pill in my system.
Right.
Couldn't talk on the phone
Mm.
to my best friend. Like I just was at a standstill without my pills.
Yeah.
So, because I had had that early exposure to AA, and in fact, I'll back up a little bit. I was a big doctor shopper, so my resources. There was a savvy doctor that I had visited in East Granby, young savvy doctor, who was on to me. And so he called all his cohorts in the valley,
Oh,
all
wow.
the pharmacies, and this is in 1995.
Yeah.
Um,
Way before the technology had caught up with being able to put that in your,
yeah,
yeah, in the on the
e-
wire or whatever. Yeah.
exactly. So all these doctors shut me off.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And I knew I had a problem. I knew because
Mm.
I couldn't live without pills. But in any case, that was my segue. That was like, all right, I'm done. Into AA I go. Now backing up, and then was sober for almost 18 years till I was
Hmm.
43 years old. So 25 to
Yeah.
43. Um, my drinking, and you mentioned this earlier, um, I never had just one. Never,
Mhm.
never.
No, I never did either. Right.
Um, and I liked to drink, but it was not the love affair I had with opiates.
Hmm.
So, being that I got sober so young, never reached a bottom with alcohol. Alcohol is so widely socially accepted,
Hmm.
right? Um, I thought, I could probably drink safely. This is just a phase. Now, couple that with I had stopped going to meetings,
Right.
right? My life had changed a little bit. I was involved with someone who was not in the program, who drank regularly. Um, and again, my choice, 1000%
Hmm.
to stop going to meetings. And we know the disease of addiction, obsession of the mind, allergy of
Hmm.
the body, right?
Right. Right.
So my mind is playing tricks on me. Oh, I can drink it, drink it, drink. So yeah, it was, I don't know, I'm going to say, I'm not 100% sure. It's about 6 months after I stopped going to meetings entirely.
Hmm.
And I had had behaviors. I was romanticizing that drink, thinking I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink. Um, and it was about 6 months later that I started drinking. And by that following year, I was a closet drinker. I was literally in my walk-in closet. I
Mm.
was, my significant other at the time, like I said, he was a regular drinker. Um, so we would drink together, but I would take trips up to my walk-in closet with my little, you know, pint, half pint of bourbon, take pulls off that,
Oh, bourbon.
and that was, like I said, within a year or two. I was out there for 8 years. So I got
Hmm.
sober again in June of 2021. So it was
Hmm.
8 years. Um, and I am 100% convinced. I said this to you the other day. One of the promises of the program is we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Now, for a while, I totally regretted, like, I would have had 30 years this October. 30
Hmm.
years. Like, wow. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this. No regrets. No, I have regrets. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have regrets of my behavior during that time, what I did to
Mm-hmm.
my children, our friendship, stuff that happened to me because of my
Mm-hmm.
drinking. But what my relapse did for me is it convinced me that, yep, alcohol is going to bring me to my knees just like opiates did. It
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
just the opiates did it first.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot, that I have an affliction like a diabetic. In the program we talk about a diabetic stops taking their insulin. I stop going to meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not around like-minded people who it's a disease. Like you have to treat it. You have to keep
Mm-hmm.
remembering where you came from. So, yeah, I'm convinced
So
that
what happened at the end of your drinking? Did you go back to the opioids?
yes. So there is a great point and one
Mm-hmm.
that is always over like I'm just gonna drink, right?
Yeah.
And yep, Deb, I was ordering pills online. I was stealing them again from
Mm-hmm.
people, you know. So right
Right
back to
back.
and who knows again where if I had kept going, I was older. I was feeling the effects, my body, I was going to slowly kill myself if I did
Yeah.
not stop. And those drugs that you order from India or wherever the hell I ordered them from, and the money,
Oh, please. Hundreds of dollars for a
yeah.
little bit of pill. Yeah.
But yeah, it brought me right back. So when I think of someone who thinks that they can safely drink, I needed to try that.
Yeah.
Again, sober young, hadn't reached a bottom with alcohol, but I did that in my 40s.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I always wondered, um, when you had that first alcoholic drink and you're holding it in your hands before you take that swig, what goes through your mind?
So this is a really funny story. It's odd. I was handed a beer.
Okay.
You want a sip? And so no time to think about it,
Yeah.
really. Just
Yeah.
and again, I had been romanticizing
Right.
the drink. I had been my sponsor always reminds me, and I'm like, holy crap, I forgot all about that. I had there are these little candies that have alcohol in the center.
Yes.
So remember that? So I had like hoarded these.
Right. While you were drinking,
Typical.
before you started drinking, you were
Yeah, I
hoarding
was
them.
sucking
Yeah.
on
I
those.
don't remember that.
Oh my God.
I mean, I remember you doing that, like telling me about it, but I don't remember those candies. Are they still available? Not that I
Oh,
want them, but I,
I got them. From my old job, somebody was giving them. They had give would give them to all of
oh,
us around
okay,
the
gotcha.
office,
Yeah.
and he purchased them at one of the local Hartford meat markets in uh,
Okay.
the Maple Ave.
Oh,
They
oh,
have like
oh,
these
okay. Yeah.
whatever. So I had those,
So
but
you were hoarding those.
so I
Okay.
was
So,
hoarding those, and then I would, at the end of a crappy day at work, pop one or two of those, and it's like a straight shot of alcohol. And for someone
yeah.
that's been sober 18 years,
Yeah.
woo, like that hits your
Yeah.
system. So the drink, the act of the drink was someone handing me, and I just took a sip, handed the thing back, and I can't, I'm pretty sure just went and got my own,
Yeah.
was like,
Wow.
and I do remember the next, like either that night or the next morning, waking up and not believing I had thrown that time away. I had thrown
Yeah.
it away. And like, if I had harnessed it then and immediately, gotten my shit together and gone back to meetings,
Hmm.
maybe I could have salvaged. But again, I think I needed, like you say, there's no such thing as coincidences or mistakes, and I think
Hmm.
I needed to suffer that physical addiction to alcohol and the consequences of what goes with that in my life
Right. Yeah.
to, like, if I had just taken that one sip of beer and then gone, oh, whoopsies, I'm going to go back to meetings, you
Hmm.
know.
And I know, and they say a head full of AA and a belly full of booze is not a good mixture, but you had disconnected from the program. So enough time that you didn't have, like, I think if I was to grab a drink right now and like I'm house sitting at this house where she literally has a bar inside her
Oh my
house,
God.
a real bar, right?
Yeah, that's a real
And
bar.
I'm sitting here staring at it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not tempted in the least bit or anything, but if I feel like if I did, I would A, not enjoy it because I'm still working the program, but B, if I did, I would just be like, fuck it, I'm throwing it all away.
Yeah.
21 years gone. And
Gone.
I would just have to be like, and this is now my life, like accept it all and hope for the best, but it's never going to end up okay because and people will say to like when I talk about the fact that like I don't crave alcohol, it's I loved getting drunk and buzzed and I only drank for that purpose. It was
Mhm.
never like to relax or just
Yeah.
at the end of a hard day. No, it was like I'm going to drink to get smashed, right? And
Yeah.
then wake up hungover. I've been puking all night, the whole nine yards. And then I want the pain of the hangover to go away so
Mm.
bad. I'm going to want to reach for a painkiller. And I
Yeah.
can see it in my head that that's exactly how it would start.
Yeah.
And I want to just take you back to like when you were my sponsor and you were going to meetings regularly
Mm.
and you had a case of shingles. Remember that?
Yes.
And
Yes, I do.
shingles is very painful. And if you don't get ahead of that pain, then it gets even worse. I've had them myself, but I got them while I was actively using. So I had it on my face.
Ugh.
So I was going to every doctor that I could get to and be like, look, I have shingles. And they'd be like, oh my God, I hit the jackpot when I when I got my case of shingles. But you were sober.
I'm
And
sorry. Yeah.
I remember me thinking to myself, oh my God, they're going to put her on major painkillers. And they did. But
So,
you were okay with that. You were in, there's the program and the fellowship. The fellowship is showing up around hanging around people that are like-minded. The program is actually doing the work on yourself to make sure that you stay sober, right? And you were doing both. So
so just to back up a little bit, because I refused those painkillers at
I
first.
know at first you did.
And you having had the experience, I'll never forget you saying, stay ahead of the pain, stay ahead of the pain. I had to, I was petrified.
I know.
I stayed with my ex-husband,
Yes.
much to my children's chagrin. He held the pills for me
Yeah.
and fed them to me as needed. Um, and if I had to do that again, I would need to enlist someone's help because
Yeah.
I can't be trusted.
No.
I can't be trusted with alcohol in my house. I can't be trusted with pills in my house. I can't be trusted with chocolate in my house. I
Yeah.
like anything and everything that makes me feel good,
Right.
like whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that. I did it. I didn't want to do it, but if I have to do it again,
Yeah.
I
But
would
you
know to
did
have
it and
somebody. I
you
did
did
it
it
sober.
as prescribed and then it
Yes.
was over and you made it through. So that's the difference between, really being invested in the support of AA or NA or whatever and not because when you walked away and you were 6 months without a meeting, it was just you thought nothing of taking a drink.
Nothing. No,
Nothing.
and like you said, a belly full of booze and a head full of AA. So, um, I can't say AA ruined my drinking, but what it did do was very quickly, I was like, I got to get back. And here's what I'll say that a lot of people who are relapsers will say. Um, I started saying, I got to get sober. And in fact, I remember talking to you. I remember the exact spot I was driving and I was talking to you, and I said to you, Deb, I like my sober self
Hmm.
way more than I like this person right now.
That's
Like, I
right.
don't like this person. This person is not, you know, I can't sleep at night. But it was very quickly that I knew I needed to get sober. I knew I needed to be a sober person.
Hmm.
And it was, like 8 years. So 8 years. So when I finally, something, you know, I mean, you were paramount in me. Something happened in my life where I needed to be present for someone, an important change in that person's life. And you said to me, there's a women's meeting in Collinsville tonight. You might want to
Hmm.
go to it because without you being sober, you're not going to be present for that person. And I was like,
Hmm.
she's right. And I better quickly grab a hold of that because I
Hmm.
might not get another chance. And people
Right.
say that it's easier to stay sober than it is to get sober. Like,
Right.
I don't know that I have another one in me. Like if
I
I start drinking again, I don't know. And I get that now. I get it.
Right, right. What
So
did you have any detox illness from when you stopped? Because I know you had the at that point you had the pills, you were doing back to pills and drinking.
not
And
enough to so I was drinking every day
hmm.
for sure. Um, and I will say that my detox from opiates when I was 25
Hmm.
was worse than um, I didn't have enough opiates in my system this time around, and the alcohol. I very quickly felt fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I was, I was drinking probably a half pint of some hard alcohol plus beer and wine
Mm.
on a nightly basis, blacking out. Um, but I was still like, I was running, I was, like all those
Yeah.
things, like not as much as I am now. Like I was suffering and struggling and getting older. But yeah, my detox when I was 25 was the aches and pains. I couldn't
Mm.
sleep
Yeah.
was horrific. This one was like, I think I was just psyched to be sober again.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
that's good.
overjoyed. So,
Well, and it's funny because during those years, that 8 years, you and I didn't speak for probably a solid 6 years out of that.
yep, yep.
Because we started kind of once in a while, texting or talking on the phone. But, and then of course, now we talk all the time, we're right back to it. But people would ask me all the time, like, how is she doing? And I didn't know about the pills, obviously. All I knew was what I saw from the outside, which you still had your job, you still had your house, you still had your car, the kids were still living with you, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, I guess she's okay. I just thought, well, maybe alcohol was okay for her, like I don't know. Maybe she really wasn't an addict. It was just she was too young. Yeah, I don't know. She hasn't lost the things that most alcoholics and addicts lose when they relapse. But little did I know. I mean, of course, you did still have your house and your car and your job and all of that, but what was going on internally
Ugh.
was just hell.
And how
So,
many people do we know that come in that have all those things, And but I was a mess and for years too, I wasn't going to portray to anybody that
mm,
I thought in my brain, I'm better off sober. I said those words to you, but like
yeah,
no one was going to really know. It was
right.
my little secret. And what I lost was you, who was such an important person in my life. That's a huge loss. Forget about the house, the job, the car. And then the story I always love to share is my poor children.
Mm-hmm.
They lived with me. They had chosen to live with me instead of their father at that because they were older. At least my daughter. But my daughter going to her school social worker because she was concerned that her mother had early onset dementia. And it was because I was blacking out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I did to my child.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, living amends, she's forgiven me. I've spoken with both children about
Mm-hmm.
that. But those those things as a mother and as
Mm-hmm.
a friend,
Mm-hmm.
I sponsored you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and we were BFFs. Like
Yeah.
we were thick as thieves. I wasn't single when we met, but we did the single mom together thing,
Mm-hmm.
for years. And
Yeah.
that loss, I hope to always remember those things, like what I did to my children and the important friendships that kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah,
You know?
because you had several close friendships in the fellowships.
Yeah,
Like that was your those were your people,
my
and
people.
that was your social network and everything. And little by little, you just what got away from it. And then
And for
you stop remembering. And then what also happens is all of your character defects start to come out again. You cannot keep them. It's the I said this the other day to somebody, it's that balloon that you hold under the water, and then it just boop, you let it go, and
that's
boop,
great.
everything comes, they boop, comes back up. And I remember when you were drinking and you were sharing with me some of the things that were you were doing and what was happening in your life. I was like, I my same character defects would have come out tenfold.
Hmm.
Like the suspicion, this just the stupid behavior, and everybody's out to get me, and the whole nine yards. It's all of that comes out,
It's
and
crazy.
that's all because you're putting that kind of fluid wall between reality and between you, and that fluid wall is the drugs and alcohol. You can't see straight through it. You can't see clearly through it.
And
So,
the other thing, you're right. The other thing that was of importance was Steve and Marilyn that I mentioned in
right.
the beginning. They both passed away while I was active.
Hmm.
So I talk a lot about not being present. I
Yeah.
wasn't present. I had that veil.
Hmm.
I wasn't true to, I wasn't true to myself at all, so how could I maintain any meaningful friendships or
Yeah.
be real and be honest,
Yeah.
about what was inside. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So
So, what would be your advice if I came to you and I said, I have a friend who is clean from her drug abuse, but she's drinking, and what advice would you have me give to her?
keep your eyes open, man. Like, here's my story. And I
Hmm.
get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. And it's hard, we always say attraction rather than promotion for
Hmm.
people. We don't go out and sell sobriety to people. We are there for people who are desperate and ready and hungry to be sober. Um, if that person was on the fence and hadn't yet taken that drink, I'd be like, man, throw yourself into the program, go to treatment centers, share your story, see where you can land, talk to people like me. Like I have a friend in the program who always says, I listen intently when people, especially people with time, who have relapsed,
Hmm.
my ears perk up
Hmm.
because I really don't want to do that. But unfortunately, Deb, sometimes people have to they got to hit their bottom
Yeah, I know.
on their own.
And it's true because there's always going to be that little question mark, like, can I safely drink?
Yeah.
Or I'm an alcoholic. Can I safely take pain medication? Or can I safely do a line of cocaine? Or can I safely? And I know a lot of alcoholics that are in recovery that absolutely do take like benzos for anxiety, but they
Mhm.
take it as directed. Okay. And
Mhm.
I am not at all, I'm all for like, you don't have to suffer with a mental health issue
Right.
just because you're, are prone to alcoholism or addiction. But if you're taking it not as prescribed, then that's a problem, and you got to keep an eye out for it. And that all comes down to honesty with your doctor. Like I'm a recovering addict, so I'm nervous about taking this for my anxiety. And then they keep an eye out for you. Your pharmacist will know, like the whole nine yards. So you just have to really think about, know yourself enough to say this is getting out of control, or have somebody else manage it for you, like you did. Because listen, we're going to go through life and we're going to need
Yeah.
pain management sometimes. We're going to need anti-anxiety, we're going to need things that might become a problem, but it's all about learning to manage it. And asking for the support of the people around you. Say, like, I'm on these meds and you got to keep an eye out for me, because we're sneaky little shits.
Ugh.
We are so
Oh,
sneaky.
and pills, nice and neat, man. I used to take them. I could work.
Yep.
It's not like alcohol. You
No,
smell it
it's
on your
like,
breath. You're like,
yeah,
well,
right.
pills.
Control,
Oh,
focus. I know. And they're
so
little,
tricky.
nobody knows when you're taking them. And I know it's,
I
uh,
have another friend who is a pill addict. And she will say, I can abuse cold medicine.
oh
Like
yeah.
so yes.
Listerine. People
Yeah.
drink that. Yeah.
Sneaky,
Vanilla
tricky.
extract.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's if there's alcohol in it, but you're calming the allergy inside of you. It's like that
Yep.
itch,
Yep.
it's itchy, itchy, itchy. And then you take something to make the calm the itch. But
And
then
I
it
think
gets,
that's
then
why,
it comes back more and more and more and more, and you can't control the itch no matter how much you drink.
right. You're just going to keep going back. I think that's why so many people in the program suffer with other addictions, whether it be food, gambling, sex, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's, because you turn exercise, like if I don't exercise, I can be a nasty son of a bitch, like
Yeah. Yeah.
because I get itchy. I get
Yeah.
like what? Okay, so yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not an exercise addict. I don't have a
No,
problem. I do it for health.
but yeah, you do. And you're a runner. Like I get that, rid of that discontentedness by either having a deep conversation with another person,
Mm,
meditating, or it's not, I don't get it from necessarily moving my body and exercise. I know I should, but I don't get that. Those endorphins don't start for me when I exercise. So I'd rather get my cup filled by, having a conversation with another human being, or going to a meeting, or meditating, or whatever it might be.
healthy ways.
Healthy ways, because if not, it's so easy. I just remember, like, going through the detox, like one of the first times I tried to get off of the pills. I was very sick, obviously, and I was living at my boyfriend's house at the time, Michael's house. I think I was living there, or I was there detoxing, lucky him. And he went out to mow the lawn, and I went through his, he had pills. Why he had pills just there, I don't know, but they were in his
Yeah.
medicine cabinet. Knowing that what I was going through, I took one. It gave me enough relief that I could at least sleep or something. But
Oh my God.
just knowing, like, I just need that, just one little pill is going to take away all this pain. like all this uncomfortableness, this headache, the shakiness, the leg, having the restless leg and
Yep.
all of that. And I'm like, and so that's why people relapse, because it's so hard to get through that initial detox and getting that out of your system. It's not easy, but it does help having other people around you who are keeping an eye out for you. You can talk to them. I was always the one that was like, how much longer am I going to feel this way? And some people would say in 3 days you're going to start like feeling better, or some people will say like it's going to take a month or two. At least I had an idea that it wasn't going to last forever, that feeling.
How long
And
was you had a significant, you were sick when you
oh yeah.
first, yeah, you talk about that, like for a
Oh,
week
I
or
was
two?
violently ill,
Ill.
in detox for a good
That's right.
5 to 7 days, and
I
then
forgot
they
about that.
and then from there they put me upstairs um into the inpatient program, where I still did not feel good, but I
Yeah.
started learning about the disease and learning about all of the things, why I did what I was doing, and the steps and all of that. And then it was a solid a couple months until I really felt like I had the energy and the wherewithal to like empty the dishwasher,
Yeah.
or, to go to the grocery store. It just took so much effort because your body is just reprogramming itself. And,
Right. The physical, I think it's like, I remember when I quit smoking, it was like the first 4 days,
yeah,
then 2 weeks. There's like all these, it's four
there's my,
days to get rid of the physical addiction, 2 weeks to get rid of something, and then something else to get rid of the actual habit, like two
hmm
weeks to break a habit, and then I don't know, but yeah, it's not.
but you're going to get there.
Yes.
You're going to get there. It doesn't last forever, and
No.
you're going to get there.
And it's so much better the
I,
way
I
we
know.
feel now. Like it, no amount, what do they say? My worst day sober is better than my best day
Yeah.
high or drunk. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. My life is so great. It's
Yeah.
really, really great. And I have rewarding relationships with people, and I can have conversations like a grown-ass adult. I'm not hiding behind this is me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if, whatever. I think part of it's age too. I always say that, like the older I get, the more it's kind of like I'm more comfortable with myself, and I'm not
Right. Right.
that scared little 25-year-old who just was so confused.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
at that age, we're experimenting and we're hanging out with friends that are doing whatever and drinking and all of that stuff. It's just
We
that,
I have this group of friends. We're listening, Joe and Charlie.
yes. Yep.
Okay. So we're listening to their tapes like every Saturday morning. And we were talking about, oh my God, I just totally lost my train of thought. That's so funny. What were we just talking
We
about?
were talking about hanging out with friends
Oh
and
yeah. So we talked about Joe and Charlie were talking about how you keep company with people who are um like at your level of
hmm
like, partying worse than you are, or drinking, or
hmm
I did not. I was like, I wanted to hang out with people. Like I got uncomfortable with people. I was always the worst in
yeah.
the group. I needed people around me who would kind of temper me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't want to be, but again,
So meanwhile, people were hanging out with you to feel better about their own drinking.
well,
They're like,
my ex-husband was the classic. He was the classic, not an enabler. That's a bad word to use to describe him, but he was always picking me up and cleaning me and dusting me off and helping me out. Like Al-Anon would have helped him a lot,
mm,
I feel like,
yeah.
but and then I had two parents that were overbearing and loved me, but like just couldn't believe that their daughter was,
Yeah, that wasn't something that they could handle.
do you need
Mm-mm.
those meetings anymore? You sure you need those meetings?
I know. I've heard that too.
It's fine.
Do you want do you want some white wine? No, I don't drink. Even white wine? No, even white wine.
Oh my God, it's so funny. I was recently with my brother, sister-in-law, and my dad, and I think I told you this story. It's so my brother and sister-in-law, they drink, and I love them. I laugh with them. Like, I'm comfortable with them drinking around me because I just laugh with them all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they're giving my 84-year-old dad a glass of wine, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh no, this is not going to be good.
Dad doesn't drink a lot. Like, it's so funny, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it is funny when you're, I mean, for me, I can't stand being around people that are just, I don't care if they're drinking, I don't care if they're buzzed, but when it hits a certain level,
Oh yeah.
I'm out.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Gotta
out.
go.
I just, good, have fun, do your thing. But
It's
being the only
annoying.
sober person, and the volume gets up and the people get closer in your face and they're repeating things. And it's like there's no longer that connection. That connection is gone. We're not,
Yeah.
anything we talk about at this point is not gonna be true, or like it's not gonna be important and real. It's going to
Right.
be filled with a bunch of I love yous and
Yeah.
it's like, okay. I was the same way. Who am I? I would profess my love to everybody and anybody when I was feeling like that. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, we're gonna wrap it up so we don't go on too long.
Thank you so much for having me,
I
Deb. This
just
is
thank
great.
you so much for being here and for really shedding light on the whole substance is a substance. And if you're going to test one because it wasn't what brought you to your knees, just be careful. It's a slippery, slippery slope.
Yeah, it
Right.
might take you a while, but you're gonna get, I mean, maybe you won't, but I'm gonna say if you've already been in a 12-step recovery program, you might have a problem with,
Yeah, the
you
other
know,
stuff.
pills, alcohol, whatever it is. I never did
Yeah.
cocaine, but I'm sure if I did cocaine, I'd be addicted pretty damn quick.
Uh, you would love it.
I'm sure I would. I
You
was
would love
lucky
it.
and I
Yes,
never had it in my face. But anyway, thank you so much for having me, Deb. It
of
was
course.
great. It's
It
always
was
great to see you. And
lovely to have you as our guest co-host, and I'm sure you'll be back again. So to all of
hopefully,
our listeners, I just want to say if you or somebody you love is struggling, please feel free to reach out. And it can be anonymous. You can just, we can just direct you to the right place. If you're feeling uncomfortable, just DM me. Um, and it always just stays between us because it's a very personal disease. And that's why it's anonymous. So, namaste to everybody. Love you all, and we will see you soon.
love you, Deb.
Love you.